5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, we ready right now. Got me feeling so free, free. Got me feeling so free, free.
Welcome back to the Side Quest Hustle. I'm your host, Shad. This is the podcast where we talk about anime, movies, comics, TV shows, and more. This week, I have a guest with me, Emmanuel LKD. You can find him on YouTube, Instagram, Threads. He creates all kind of content from anime reviews to video game streams. He's been playing Kingdom Hearts lately. It's a game I've never played, but after watching him play, I think I'm going to give it a shot. He's also a musician. You can check out his latest single, Floating, on all streaming platforms. But Emmanuel, man, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shad. Thank you. It's good to be on here. You know, I did my research. You know, I checked out your first episode. I checked out your I Married a Weeb episode. I checked out the Pied Piper episode. I forgot what the name of that comic was called, but I checked out that review. And yeah, man, I'm excited to be here. You know, just talk anime, just talk our journeys, and talk what's been going on.
Cool, man. Thank you. Yeah, that comic, Pepper Piper Monster Hunter, it's a brand new comic, and it's really interesting. The author, Vashner Valentine, he comes from the film world, so his forte into media was film. He's done short films. He has an award-winning short film. I think it's taken home, like 80 plus awards, and he's directed everything from movies to short films, the videos. And so he also has a love for anime and manga. And the conversation with him was very interesting because he learned a really Western-based approach to media. And for him, diving into manga and anime, it's very different. And so he wanted to blend those two in Pepper Piper. And so it's one I'd definitely recommend for people to check out. I wanted to dive into you and your background. What got you into content creating?
Yeah, great question. So what got me into content creation, it started when I was around maybe 11 or 12 years old. I grew up on YouTube, on the YouTube era, when I would say YouTube was in its prime. I would say where we had people like Ryan Higa. I don't know if you know who he is.
Yeah.
Ryan Higa, Dietrich, Kev Jumba, Smosh, and there were just a bunch of other YouTubers in that area, but Ryan Higa was my main inspiration, and he would make a lot of funny skits that would entertain you in the beginning, but then near the end he had some kind of he still had some inspirational message at the end of the day to inspire you to just be yourself, or don't care what other people think. And I wanted to make content like that. So as soon as I turned 13 years old, I started my YouTube account, and I just made a bunch of random funny skits with my friends at church. A little while after that, you know, deep into the YouTube rabbit hole, I discovered this channel where there would be either historical figures or fictional characters just rap battling against each other.
What's it called? Epic Rap Battles?
Yeah, Epic Rap Battles of History. Man. So I just took a deep dive into their channel, watched all their videos, like Dr. Seuss versus Shakespeare, Bill Gates versus Steve Jobs, and I was so fascinated with them. I just loved the way that they flowed and the way that they rapped and their puns and their wordplay. I was like, wow, this is so fun. So unironically, Epic Rap Battles of History is what got me into rap and making music, because after I heard that, I was just so in love with the flows and the bars that I decided to, okay, you know what, I need to listen to real rap music, quote unquote. So I started listening to real rap music like Kendrick Lamar, Lecrae, J. Cole. Started listening to more of those artists, and then I thought to myself, you know, I could do this. So I started writing. I started writing music. And then I went to college for a bachelor's degree in media arts because I wanted to make music videos. And music videos and music, they go hand in hand with each other.
I want to talk about your music a little bit, man. Going back and checking out your YouTube and things, some of the first videos that I saw uploaded to your channel, they were related to music videos. And it looks like you've been making music, at least from what I see, for the past 6 or 7 years. One of the things that really, I watched the Best Suit video.
Oh man, what a throwback.
Yeah, from 6 years ago, the first music video that was uploaded to your channel, and like the videography in it stood out. It's a good song, so give it a listen, guys. Go check out Emmanuel's music, but the videography of it did not look like someone's first music video. Yeah, it's very high quality. The music's high quality. So what got you into making music?
Oh man. So it goes back to so what got me into making music? So it goes back to my inspirations. I just wanted to make something that was just fun music. Fun music, but also had some kind of message at the end of the day. Kind of similar to how Ryan Higa's videos were fun but had a message at the end of the day. And you know, I was blessed to have a supportive dad who took me to, I forgot what the name of the store is, Guitar Center. Like he took me to Guitar Center to buy a microphone, buy interface to connect my computer to my microphone. And I started my first song. My first song was back in 2013. Yeah, but 2013, I uploaded it to SoundCloud. It's on private because it's trash, but like I just kept going. I just did it, and it was cool that posting yourself online, you see other artists online as well. You hear their music, you're like, okay, that's cool. I want to make something like that, and then you collaborate with them, and then you just grow this artist community. I still have this community of artists to this day, and even though I'm not making as much music as I would like to, since I'm focusing more on the YouTube content and streaming, I really do enjoy the music that I make, and it's just been a lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah, that's how I feel about your latest one, Floating. That is a good chill vibe song, and I mean it's one of those, whether you're just hanging out, you're gaming, you're doing homework, you're just hanging out with friends or whatever, I feel like that is a song that you could put on and have on repeat. And so if y'all haven't checked it out, can you let them know where they can find your latest single?
Yeah, so you guys can check out Floating on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, or Deezer, or Tidal, just, you know, on all of these music platforms. Search up Emmanuel LKD and then Floating, and then you'll find it on there.
Yeah, it's definitely one. You'll see what I'm talking about once you listen to it. It's definitely a vibe.
Appreciate it, man. Long story short, I decided to still keep up the skits because with music creation, you need to have some kind of content to go with it, because you can't just have music all the time. You can't just have music all the time. You have to have some kind of creative way to show more of you. Mm-hmm. So on TikTok, I started making just skits. I started going over with the audios. TikTok has different audios that you can mouth over and create your own scenarios and skits with as well. Mm-hmm. So I started going on TikTok a lot more. I found a lot of success with TikTok, actually. I had several videos blow up on TikTok. That was fun. I started making anime content just for fun, just because I was watching a lot of anime at the time. You know, so I would make skits that an everyday person would have, and then I would make skits that an anime fan would have. And then I noticed that the ones with anime fans started doing a lot more well than the other regular skits, quote unquote, that I did. So I started to do a lot more anime skits, and then I had a friend invite me to an anime convention back in summer of 2023. And then I went there, and I was just so fascinated with the anime convention world, seeing people cosplay, just the events there. I also I've also always wanted to do those anime interviews as well. But I'm not gonna lie, I was so nervous. I was so nervous. I didn't know how to approach people. It was just me by myself. I just had my camera. I mean, obviously there's a lot of people, so I could have just asked anybody, but I didn't know how to ask them. But eventually I found my rhythm. I just cold approach people.
Yeah, it looks natural now. Because I mean, the latest one I think you dropped yesterday was the anime characters that are red flags.
Yeah.
And so going from there, you become a natural now, and it's almost like it's second nature, and you're having fun, and people are enjoying it as well. And I always like those responses because you have in your mind what characters, just take the red flag one for example, which characters might be red flag, but then somebody comes out of the blue with a random character that Kakashi's a red flag, or something like that, a character you wouldn't think, and they have some legit logic behind it, and so I always like those. I've been to a few cons myself, but I haven't done any content creating at them. At the next one that we go to, that's definitely something that I'm gonna try as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It definitely requires you to be out of your comfort zone. That's something that I realized for myself with just content creation in general, is that you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to take those chances, and you have to, in a way, not care what people think about you. Because if you care too much about what people think about you, you're not gonna get anything done. And I was always an introvert growing up. Believe it or not, I was an introvert. I mean, I still am in a way. I like my alone time. College forced me to be extroverted because I remember someone told me that when you go to college, talk to everybody. And in a way, that helped me to keep creating content at anime conventions, for example, just to talk to everybody and then see who's cool. And like, hey, if you're cool, hey, you want to do an interview? And like, hey, I got a camera here. And they're like, oh yeah, let's do it. And then it's just like a culmination of life skills to get to where I am. Like, I didn't just go to an anime convention and then I started interviewing people, because like I said, the first one was a struggle. I was so like shy and stuff. I was just like, hey man, I don't know what to do here. I don't know how to do this.
Yeah, I think that'd be an interesting comparison, looking at maybe your first convention where you created content versus now. And I see YouTubers do that kind of frequently, and as a motivational thing, it's not going to be perfect when you start. Nothing's going to be perfect, but you have to take that chance. You have to put yourself out there. You have to go to that con. You have to ask that person. And even if it's not perfect, it's a start. And I see the comparisons where now their videos may be what you would consider maybe a high quality production versus when they started, and it's just the chance with podcast, and not only doing the podcast, but deciding that my podcast would be a video podcast. And I've never done anything like it, and I procrastinated around for maybe a month or two before I actually recorded and put out content. And same thing with guests. I just kind of dove in with guests and was like, I like talking to people. I found this person, I think they're cool, I'm gonna ask them to be on. And it's been great conversations. I've met really cool people. I've met you. I've met like the guys over at Anime D-Chans, Vashmir, and it's been amazing. And that was my goal, was just like to create a community of people that I could talk about stuff that I loved with, and put that out there for people who may love the same thing that I love. Which brings me to my next question. I see you've been going through a playthrough of Kingdom Hearts. What got you into Kingdom Hearts?
Great question. So what's amazing about Kingdom Hearts, and just so like with anything that I've done so far with content, it's all just been out of fun. It all just like started, it just happened, where I went to an anime convention called Anime Central. It's one of the biggest anime conventions here in the Midwest, or I think it's the biggest one actually. So I went to a vendor where they had a bunch of old games, and they had old games from PlayStation games, PlayStation 2 games, PlayStation 3 games, old Xbox games, and Nintendo 64 games. And I saw that they had Kingdom Hearts. They had Kingdom Hearts at one of their stands, and I didn't realize that Kingdom Hearts was on PS3. And I had an old PS3 in my basement, and I thought Kingdom Hearts was only for PlayStation, PlayStation 2. So I decided to get it. And then I had another friend tell me around the time too that I should get into streaming, because with the anime convention interviews, it's cool and all, but it doesn't show who I am in a way. It shows more about the other people that I interview, but it doesn't showcase my personality, what I have to offer. It was really cool where I just started to try streaming Kingdom Hearts, and I didn't realize how loyal and how much of a cult following that Kingdom Hearts has. I would get average of 10 viewers every stream, and I was like, yo, this is cool. And they would kind of backseat game me in a way where they would tell me, this is where to go, this is how you beat this boss, make sure you go here to collect this. I'm like, okay, bet. I'm cool with it, because I'm not gonna lie, the first Kingdom Hearts game is pretty hard. But it's been such a fun journey, and it's so cool to see. Like, I would have never thought I would start streaming in the first place. Like, I would have never thought I would start streaming. I would never have thought that I would be doing anime interviews, and it all just happened just because I did it. Just because I just, like you said, take a chance, took that step, took a chance, just did it. And it's so cool that whenever there's a day where I'm planning to play Kingdom Hearts, I'll have like 2 or 3 people waiting in the live stream already. I'm like, wow, what? No way. That is so cool.
And that's interesting because, again, I'm like you, man. Kingdom Hearts, I would have never thought there would have been that big of a following, because it is a bit of an older game, and games have kind of shifted. Graphics are on a whole nother level now. The fact that people are still tuning in, and I'm not sure, are they still making Kingdom Hearts games?
So, based on what my chat has told me, they are going to make a Kingdom Hearts 4, but it probably won't come out until late 2025. So they're still making games.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
So I'm trying to play before I get caught up.
Yeah. I recently started back gaming because, I mean, just with life, going to college, starting a professional job, and getting married, with family, trying to find time for things has been rough. And so things are settling down now and finding a little bit more time on my hands. And so it's giving me time to do some things that I really like. And gaming was one of them. I started back. Assassin's Creed has always been one of my favorites. And so I started replaying Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and I know they pushed back the latest Assassin's Creed Shadows to, I think, February. So I'm excited for that one. But I recently built a gaming PC, and there were some games that came with it, like Warhammer Space Marine 2. And so I've been playing it, and it brings all those old feelings back when I used to play games. A little bit of anxiety that you would get coming up on a boss, or the frustration, but the good frustration of solving puzzles and things like that. And watching some of your videos, I hadn't checked out a stream, but I've gone and I've checked out the Jafar boss fight and the Parasite Cage fight. And so there's been a couple, and I can tell of watching your face and then seeing the chat and everything, and it's yeah, this is something that I've been missing, and I've been able to introduce my oldest son into video games as well. He has been playing the Dragon Ball Kakarot game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I mean, there was, for him being so young, there was a little bit of a learning curve. But I remembered when I was his age, I was playing video games too, and so I'm he just has to get used to it. And seeing him get frustrated but picking it up to where now he's able to play the game on his own, fight the bosses on his own. He's at the stage where he's fighting Majin Buu.
Oh, snap.
And yeah, it's a tough fight. Like,
Yeah.
I played it. It was tough, but he's there and he's doing it. He hasn't cleared he hasn't cleared Boo yet, but he's coming close. He's been close a few times, and so I've just been giving him the freedom to do it. When he gets frustrated, he'll stop playing, he'll pout, he'll do everything, and so that's like a shared love that something that I've been able to carry from my childhood and something I've enjoyed doing as an adult to a kid, and he's been able to enjoy it, pick up a game. He loves Dragon Ball. He loves like Digimon and Pokemon, and so I think Pokemon, one of those games, is going to probably be our next venture.
Oh, yeah. I love Pokemon.
Yeah, me too. I still replay the original, the yellow, blue, red. I'd probably say Generation 3 is my favorite generation.
Same here.
Pokemon. Yeah.
Same here. Hoenn region, man.
I wish they would make maybe like a Pokemon game that covered all of them from start to where they are now. I know it will probably end up being like a massive game.
That's gonna be huge.
Yeah, but I feel like it's one that everybody would enjoy, because I mean, everybody picked up Pokemon at a different stage, and everybody would be able to enjoy it, seeing it from the beginning and traveling through. Man, yeah.
Have you ever played the Heart Gold and Soul Silver games on the DS?
Yeah, I did. I picked those up, and because I remember when the original Gold and Silver, I was able to like find those back when I was a kid. I can't remember where I found them. I think it was like maybe at like a pawn shop or something like that, and playing through those. And so when they remade them the same way they did like Fire Red and Leaf Green, and they kind of shafted Blastoise and Squirtle, they didn't give them like a water.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know why we never got like an Aqua Blue.
Yeah. I mean, like, Squirtle's legit. Like he was one of the better water Pokemon in the game. I mean, especially like those earlier generations, but he never got his own edition, and I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, man, justice for Squirtle, man, justice for Squirtle.
So, with your playthrough of Kingdom Hearts, what do you think will be the next game that you tackle?
Oh, so the thing with Kingdom Hearts is that it's a massive franchise. So I played Kingdom Hearts 1, then there's Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, which is in between the first and second Kingdom Hearts. So I'm on Kingdom Hearts 2 right now. In total, there are 10 Kingdom Hearts games. So I'm going to power through all of these Kingdom Hearts games. And then once I finally catch up to Kingdom Hearts, I might do a replay of Kingdom Hearts, but on the hardest mode, just for more of a challenge. I might do that, but I also have some other games too that I wanted to play. I started some games on the stream that I want to revisit. I just decided to just power through all the Kingdom Hearts games first, because I just wanted to be able to catch up to Kingdom Hearts 4, basically. And I have 2 years to do it, so I have enough time. Time. So the next games after the Kingdom Hearts games are the Final Fantasy games. I started Final Fantasy VII Remake a little while ago. The thing was, because at the time, I was learning both the controls of Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, and it kept messing me up. So I'm just going to stick with one game first. And then once, this game style is done, I'll go on to this next other game style.
Final Fantasy was one of my first RPGs to play, and I always love it. I'm a lore junkie. And so whether it's a game or franchise that has like lore and deep lore, I love it. And it's one of the things like with Warhammer that attracted me to it, because I've never heard of Warhammer before. Building a PC, Space Marine coming with it, and I'm like, I plan on gaming. I've never heard of this. I don't know what it is, but then I looked it up on YouTube, and I mean, thousands of videos came up, and I mean, It wasn't something obscure. It was like these videos had millions of views on them, and it's like the history of Warhammer 40K and the history of this and the history, and then finding out that like this is like a 6 million year history, and it's all been written out over like 300 or 400 books, and these 300 or 400 books tell the story of all of these different characters who in their own right would probably be the main character of their own anime or movie or something like that, but they all tie back into this bigger story. And I was like, oh man, and I'm still deep diving. I'm going through the Emperor had 20 sons, and so each of those 20 sons have their own story that they're the main character of. And I'm diving through each of their stories now and what made them unique and different. And man, it's crazy. If you ever just have time and you want to hear a good, well thought out story, dive into some Warhammer 40K lore.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, see, I love series where each character seems to be like their own main character, like you said, and there's just so much to discover about it. So I'll have to take a look into it. And it reminded me of this other game franchise or game series that's really popular. You know, a lot of esports players play it, League of Legends.
Yeah.
And like, I don't play League of Legends, but I watched the show Arcane. Have you seen Arcane?
Yeah, I've seen the first season. The second season is coming out soon, or was it one of the ones
it's coming out
this
soon.
week?
Oh, this week?
I knew it was coming soon, but I wasn't sure if it was on like the week 1 of the fall anime season premieres.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm excited. I'm like you. I've heard of League of Legends, and when Arcane came out, there was buzz around it, and I checked it out, and I loved it too. And I'm like you. I went back and I had to like, okay, what is this about? Like, where did this come from? And I watched a couple of streamers play, and I'm like you. I'm interested in diving into that one as well.
Right. Like for me personally, I don't think I'll dive into League of Legends, like the game, but the lore is just fascinates me so much with all the characters. Like you learn who Jinx is, and you learn I can't remember all the names exactly, but Jinx is the main one that pops up because, you know, she's like the face of Arcane. But each of the characters have their own lore and backstories, and it's just so interesting. You just get deeper a little bit into our lives, where it's like every character is important, just like you, just like me. We're all important. We all have our own backstory. We all have our own goals and aspirations. None of us are a side character. None of us should view ourselves as side characters, because we're all main characters in our own rights, because, you know, we all have those backstories and goals and aspirations.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely feel that, and that's what I like about creators who take the time to expand on their story. Because take like some of the big 3, for example. If you look at One Piece and you take all of the Straw Hats, Luffy's the main character and One Piece is about Luffy. But if you change the perspective and you look at it from Zoro's standpoint, Zoro has his own backstory. He has his own goals to become the greatest swordsman ever. And he's on that journey to do that. And technically in Zoro's story, Luffy is the side character. You can go through all the Straw Hats and take that approach with them. They all have their goals. They all have their backstories that a lot before they met Luffy, and connections in the world that Luffy doesn't have, their own stories. They spent 2 years separated in which they went on their own adventures before they linked back up.
Yeah.
And so definitely. And so that leads me into my next topic. Speaking of Zoro, the cosplay that you did with Zoro with his Egghead Island outfit, man, that was dope. You had the green hair, you had the outfit, the swords. I think one of the things that a lot of people don't realize about cosplaying is the work that goes into it. Can you dive into that? How did the costume, the concept, and everything come together for you to cosplay Egghead Zoro?
Yeah, so great question. So I would have never thought I would get into cosplay because I'm not gonna lie, I used to be one of those people that looked at cosplay like, oh, what is that? Like, oh, like who are these guys? Like weebs, you know? Like I used to be like that. I'm not gonna lie, I used to be like that. But I watched this one anime called My Dress Up Darling. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's an anime where it's basically about this cosplayer girl, and then she meets this boy who loves to sew and knit clothes, and then they just happen to meet, and then he helps her sew all these different cosplays. And with watching that anime, it really made me respect cosplay more as an art form, because I didn't realize how much work it actually takes to create these costumes. And now that I have cosplayer friends in this community, I'm seeing them 3D print items and weapons and masks. I'm seeing them sew their own clothes. Not everything is bought from Amazon. Like for me, all of my stuff is bought from Amazon, so I don't put as much work into it as I feel like I do compared to them. It's still work because money. It's just been a fun process, you know, just to step up my game each time. My first cosplay ever was Law, the Sabaody arc Law. It was just a simple, I just had the hat, I had the yellow hoodie, I had jeans. That was my first convention that I went to, where I tried to interview people for the first time. And going to that convention, I just see so many cool cosplays. It's just like seeing people in big Blaziken outfits, seeing people in the ancient Magnus Bride costume, seeing people just like with makeup that looks so real. And I'm just like, wow, like, yo, my respect for these cosplayers just shot through the roof. Like my respect grew when I was watching My Dress Up Darling, but then it just shot through the roof as soon as I went to a convention. And then I just wanted to up my game up a little more, you know, have more fun, elaborate cosplays. Was Zoro, for example. Zoro is something that I never thought I would get into because I thought it would take too much money and too much time. Eventually, I just decided to just go for it, you know, just take that chance and go for it. And then I started to create some skits with it alongside the anime interviews. Just wanted to just do some more skits, and those skits with the cosplay has been helping out my channel a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty dope. So I have to ask, you did a skit with another cosplayer who was dressed as Sanji. Was that like a planned skit, or was this someone that, you know, you kind of met at the con and was like, let's do this?
Yeah, so that was someone I met previously at another convention, and then we planned. So it was a planned skit where I told him, hey, I'm thinking about doing some more skits at this convention. Who are you gonna cosplay as? And then he said, oh, I'm gonna cosplay Sanji. I'm like, oh, perfect. Perfect. I'm gonna be we just planned it out, and there are some skits too where we just do on the fly, just because like inspiration comes to us just then and there. But man, it's just been a lot of fun. It's like I would have never like imagined that I would be here.
Yeah, it looks like it. I haven't cosplayed yet. My wife has, and the next con that we end up going to, we've already decided that we're gonna do it. We don't know who we're gonna be yet. It'll probably just kind of depend on how we feel, but we definitely plan on doing it. And your Zoro costume was dope. I'll probably put it up here on the screen, but you went full out, dyed the hair green, the earrings, the jacket, the swords.
Yeah.
And I think that's a testament to the love of it, and it grows, because I'm pretty sure you probably never thought you'd be dyeing your hair to go to a con. And I think that's just the progression of people stepping up. You start out with just a fully bought costume where you just have to throw it on, to where you're kind of improvising things and making things, dyeing the hair. That's some of the progression that I've seen some friends that have done it, and then like going through social media and checking out your costumes and everything. Like your costumes really fit you well. Some of the skits that I've seen you do, you really portray the character really well, and it's really dope to get to see that side of people.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's cool too with cosplay, especially where it's almost like, in a way, as soon as you dress up as them, you take up some of their traits. Like it's just so weird. It's like I don't plan for this to happen. Where it's like I cosplay as Zoro, and then I'm driving my friend somewhere. He tells me to go right. I turn left. I'm like, no, wait. I'm like, wait. Oh. It's like it's getting to me. So like it's like my navigational skills just decreased by 30% now. Ever since I cosplay as Zoro.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you were able to find your way here. You didn't get lost. Jinbei is my favorite Straw Hat, so I feel like I would have been able to find you and guide you back here. But that's really cool. I feel like it's like that with everybody, and doing something that you have come to enjoy, you take on aspects of it, and like you said, the aspects of the different characters. What is your next cosplay?
Jotaro from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Have you seen that anime?
Yeah. I've watched JoJo's up to, I think, season 5, maybe.
That's with Golden Wind, right? With Giorno.
Yeah. So I'm up to there. I haven't finished that season yet. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was one of those animes where, like, the first time I tried to watch it, because I saw all the memes and I saw everybody talking about how they loved it, and giving it a shot, it was too bizarre for me. And I was like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. But I powered through like the first season and I was into it. I got hooked, and like seeing that each one is almost like an anthology. I didn't realize that each season is telling the story from like a different character. You get a new JoJo each season. With there being a new JoJo each season, I know some people don't like that because they get attached to the characters in this season. Then next season, it's a completely different cast of characters.
Right.
And then the next season is a different cast. And I know, like, recently we kind of talked back and forth about it, but like Tower of God's first season, you get introduced to these characters, their backstories, you get attached to them, and then they brought season 2 up, and you have some people who they were okay, they were willing to like give it a chance and like see what this was about, but then there were people who was like, what, there's no Kun, there's no Rock, I'm not watching this.
Right.
And JoJo's did a little bit of the same. I mean, it's still the same family line, but it's not the character from season 1. It's not the character from season. You get a season with each of them before it progresses.
Right. And what I like about that too is that it keeps JoJo's fresh as well. Because if you think about it, there's like 6 seasons of JoJo, and I think in each season there's like maybe 40 to 50 episodes each season. So it's all like, that's a lot of episodes, but
Yeah.
they're all different stories, so it keeps it fresh, so it doesn't feel like it's long. So like, how many episodes is that? I don't even know how many episodes that is in total.
And I mean, they're telling the story that kind of more towards more modern anime and things, but you're getting the entire story told within 50 to 60 episodes. Each episode is covering multiple pages of like manga or multiple chapters of manga. You get an entire story told over, it's one season, but with the way anime is now, 48 episodes is 4 seasons. We're looking at like 4 years, depending on how it airs, because anime seasons are 12 episodes now. It's not a continuous where this is told over a year's time. It's like, nah, that gets stretched out into 4 years, where growing up, we would have finished that anime in a year or 2. I like the style of storytelling that JoJo's did, and they're able to tell the complete story and then they move on to something else. It was a bit,
Right.
It's a bit jarring if you're not used to that type of storytelling, but once you get past that, I love it.
Right. And like, speaking of that too, man, I want to talk about JoJo's, but I also want to talk about Tower of God. Okay, so starting with JoJo's first. So JoJo's, that's another show that So JoJo's actually top 3 anime for me. So it's number 3, One Piece is number 2, Attack on Titan is number 1. With all 3 of these shows, I would have never thought I would get into them, and they all happen to just be my top 3 favorites. Because with JoJo's, I thought, like you, oh, it's too bizarre, it's too weird for me. It's like, oh, like who are these characters? What is this art style? And then with One Piece, it's like, oh, it's too long. It's, like the intimidation. And then with Attack on Titan, oh, it's too popular. Oh no, it's too popular. Like, I feel like it's overrated. But then I watch them, and I see why they're so popular. I'm like, oh shoot, oh look at me.
Yeah,
Top 3
out of those, Attack on Titan was the one that I was surprised that it got that popular. I mean, just with the type of story that it's telling, and it's very graphic, but it's very deep. It was one that I was surprised that it got that popular, but then after watching it and then going back, I could understand it. It was very different from any other anime that was out at the time. And I mean, if you look at it now, that type of violence is normal in anime and manga. But at that time, what was it back? I can't remember what year it came out, but back
2013.
Back when it came out, that was kind of unheard of for a mainstream anime or manga in 2012, 2013.
That's very true, because that's very true that you said that now, because now that I think about it, Jujutsu Kaisen is almost to the same level of graphicness, but Chainsaw Man for sure now is up to that level. And yeah, that's very true that you point that out, because a lot of stories at the time weren't as graphic. Like, I'm trying to think what other stories during that time came out. Like Hunter x Hunter 2011 wasn't as graphic starting out as AOT, but it got darker near the Chimera Antarctic for sure.
But even with that, like the graphicness of it, it wasn't violence against humans. It was violence against these beasts, these ants. And so, yeah, you may have seen someone get their arm ripped off, but I think probably the most graphic thing may have been Netero piercing his own heart and blowing itself up.
Yeah.
But we didn't, first episode, see the main character get eaten.
Right, no, yeah. I think, exactly. I think that's, like, because I remember I watched the first episode of Attack on Titan because I was curious to check it out. I was like 13, 14 years old at the time. I saw his mom get eaten. I was like, no, I'm not watching this. This is too much for me, man.
Yeah. And it's really interesting how storytelling has evolved, because we mentioned Tower of God, and I look at something like Tower of God, which started coming out around that same time, around 2010 or so is when the manhwa started. And it tells a story sort of how the big 3 animes or the big 3's mangas told their story. There was build up, then there was action, and there was more build up, action. Whereas now it's like the expectation is almost action from the start. And if it's not, people don't like it. And it's almost like the attention span is shortened to where you have to lead in with some type of action, something that's gonna shock them, something that's gonna catch them right off the bat. That's been some of the feedback that I've seen from Tower of God, because it's not one of those. It's a newer anime, but the story is older. Yeah,
that does make sense. That makes sense how you said that it starts out like the big 3 manga, where it starts slower, because like you, I've seen the criticism for it where people are saying, oh, it's so slow, nothing's happening, like who are these characters, I want to go back to the old characters. But then I watched it all last night. I caught up last night. I finished up the first core of season 2. I'm like, what? Like, bro, this is good. It's good. It's good. What are people talking about? It's good.
I feel like it's one of those where watching weekly won't do it benefit. Like it won't do it any good. You have to watch it in its entirety. Because even season 1, my brother-in-law and my wife and some other family members, they didn't like season 1 watching it episodically, but then when they went back and watched it all together, they enjoyed it. They got past the art style, because the art style is very different, the pacing of it, and they were able to enjoy it in its totality as a whole. And I feel like season 2, watching it week to week isn't a good experience, but if you go back and you watch the entire thing all at once, you can see the bigger picture. A little bit of a spoiler here, so if you don't want to be spoiled, go back and listen to this great conversation that we've had so far. There'll be a timestamp below. You can skip ahead if you want to, but the part of the story, and I know you haven't seen it, so I'll keep it sort of, it won't be a deep spoiler, but the workshop battle, for example, is, in my opinion, the equivalent of, like, if we take the big 3, Bleach, One Piece, Naruto, the workshop battle is the equivalent of the tuning exams. It's the equivalent of the Rukia retrieval arc. It's the equivalent of Enies Lobby. It's that big event that takes place that not only opens up the world, but there's a lot of action. It's non-stop. It is the culmination of everything that's happened so far.
Man, I'm excited for that because there's a lot of major players so far that I got introduced to in the last episode of the first core, where you just see all these different teams. And spoiler alert too for anyone who hasn't seen Tower of God or hasn't seen all of core 1 of season 2 of Tower of God, but just seeing so spoiler starts here. So just seeing all of Bomb's old teammates, come together as a team, seeing Kun with Bomb's teammate, or Kun with Viole's quote unquote teammates, and then seeing Viole with Bug and Kun's other 2 teammates, just seeing all of them come together. Those aren't the only teams too. There's going to be a lot of other teams, right, that are all competing in this battle.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I say that, like, it's a culmination, and it's that big event that, okay, from here it's up, from here it's full speed ahead, very fast paced, because I believe at this point in the manhwa, I believe we might be up to around the time where a lot of modern shonen started coming out, and you can see the change in the storytelling aspect. Yes, there's still those exposition chapters where it's telling story, it's giving information, it's dumping lore or whatever it may be, but there's a lot more action, there's a lot more of the story being pushed forward at a faster pace than before the workshop battle. It's interesting too with Tower of God how they chose to tell the story in season 2 over some, and I'm not sure how much SIU the creator had a hand in core 1, but there are like some aspects of it that were left out. There are some aspects of it, like with Viole, you don't find out that he's Bomb until like you meet Jin Sung-ha, his mentor, that character. Up until that point, you don't know that Viole is Bomb, and you're just like, who are these people? Like, where are the people that we fell in love with before this? And so I feel like they blew the budget on core 2, because this is, like I said, the big event. I feel like the entire budget was blown here. They kind of scraped by because they have to tell this part of the story to get to here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like from here going forward, I mean, the animation quality is going to be better. The action is going to be more fast paced. There are going to be more fights. We're going to get to see the characters that we love in season 1. I still feel it'll be the one that'll get people week to week.
Okay, bad, because I did see some complaints about the animation for core 1 of season 2, where people were like, bro, what's going on with this animation? I thought this is supposed to be hype and stuff like that. I saw complaints about that, but I mean, I get it, but at the same time, it's a little nitpicky in a way. I'm not sure if you watched Attack on Titan as it was coming out.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a similar feeling where season 1 of Attack on Titan just ended. I didn't watch it as it came out. I watched it like later during quarantine. But like Attack on Titan season 1 came out. People waited 4 years for season 2 of Attack on Titan. People were disappointed by it because it didn't have the same expectations that they had for season 1. I feel like that's similar to Tower of God, where season 1 came out so long ago, and then season 2 came out, and they're like, okay, this is all we get. But for me, I watched Attack on Titan season 1, and then straight to season 2, because it was during quarantine. And a similar Tower of God, I started Tower of God like this summer, and then I caught up to when season 2 started. I just watched it like just straight through. So maybe like waiting so long for a season, it's valid. I get it. I get it for how it can hamper your experience. But for me personally, that's not what happened.
Are you a manhwa reader?
I am not. No. I mean, I have some manga in the background right here. Like, I'm currently reading Tokyo Ghoul and Chainsaw Man, actually. But those are the main 2 I'm reading. I want to get into Bleach. Like, I've seen all of the anime, today's Bleach Saturday, part 3 just came out today as of October 5th. So I'm excited to read that. I mean, watch that, but I do want to go back and read it because I had some moots or, mutuals on threads, praise Bleach for its manga style. Shout out Odessa. And I want to experience Bleach in the manga form versus the anime form.
Bleach is a good one. One of the things with Bleach manga, you will definitely get to see the evolution of Kubo as an artist. Whenever Bleach started, don't get me wrong, you have to be a great artist. You don't have to be, but he was a pretty good artist when Bleach started. But by the time Bleach ended, it's almost kind of like we were talking about earlier with content creators of looking at a snapshot of now versus when they first started. It's the same thing with him. His evolution of his art style from the beginning to the end of Bleach was amazing. The character designs, the crispness of his drawing, it was absolutely beautiful. What we're getting in the anime now with how each episode is almost movie quality, those were how the panels were. The panels by the end of Bleach were amazing. Bleach was my first manga. The panels by the end, they were top notch. It shows, I can tell that the quality of his art is being portrayed perfectly in the 1,000 Year Blood War art. You're in for a good journey. Bleach, it's one of my favorite anime manga. I love a world that's deep with lore and characters, and Bleach has so many, and their character designs are so cool, and each of them are unique, and I love that about a story. I completely love that about a story.
Yeah, no, the characters in Bleach are really good. And I was watching this one Bleach analysis video by Emmanuel. She made a Bleach analysis video, and she said that it's more of a character-driven story. And I didn't realize it at the time, but now I want to go back and reread Bleach to see the characters more, because something about Bleach I always admired was the characters and the drip,
Yeah. Kubo definitely. I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of Kubo, but when the characters, their outfits, the drip, everything, I feel like matches him perfectly. He is a stylish person, and so he definitely showed that in his art. And shout out to Anamel. I've watched a couple of hers. Her review of Dandadan is actually what got me to read Dandadan's manga and be excited about it coming out. So I went, and I didn't want to read too much of it because I wanted to be excited about what was to come, and then I was going to go back and read it. But I read the first chapter, which is a bit of a long chapter for a manga, and there's a lot there. as you could tell from the first episode of the anime. And I had to stop myself because before I knew it, I was on like chapter 5.
Oh.
And yeah. And so I was like, let me stop because I want to enjoy this as an anime week to week. And so let me stop. Otherwise, I will have read this entire manga. And so once this season is over, I'm going to go back and read Dandadan's manga, which I guess it's a good segue into, because Dandadan premiered on October 3rd. It was one of the most hyped anime for the year. It was announced that Netflix was picking up the adaptation, but you can find it on all streaming platforms. And Dandadan tells the story of ghost monsters, alien, teen romance, battles, and everything in between. The series has all Takakura, an occult maniac who doesn't believe in ghosts, and Momoeyasu, a girl who doesn't believe in aliens, try to overcome their differences when they encounter the paranormal. It is a manga and anime that's out of this world. We get to experience all of that in the first episode of Dandadan. We both have watched the first episode, and I kind of want to dive into the world of Dandadan. Before the anime was announced, if I'm not mistaken, you haven't read the manga and you've only watched the first episode of the anime. Mm-hmm. So what were your initial thoughts of episode 1 of Dandadan?
Man, it was a trip. Man. It was wild. I had no idea what to expect because, like you said, I never read the manga, and I've seen the trailers, but even from the trailers, I didn't know what to expect. Like I didn't know what the story was. Yeah, going back to rewatch the trailers, I see some of the dialogue that was from the first episode, and I'd be like, oh, that's the context of that. Like the context of, you're gonna make me believe in ghosts, and I'm gonna make you believe in aliens. And so that's cool that, there's someone who doesn't believe in ghosts, someone who doesn't believe in aliens. They cross paths. They end up meeting, what they thought wasn't real. And then they just get powers. I'm just like, what? And
yeah, we'll have some spoilers in our discussion of Dandadan. So watch the first episode, then come back and watch this part of the video.
We really live in a peak anime main character era where one character, Denji from Chainsaw Man, he just wants to touch boobs. Takakura just wants to get his weenie back.
That aspect of it, of how Takakura and Momo end up discovering that ghosts and aliens are real. The whole interaction really kind of came from Momo being a nice person. She saw someone being picked on, she saw someone being bullied, and she stopped it. And later on in the episode, we come to find out that the reason she did it was because she was bullied and picked on. And it happened for something that she believed in. Her grandmother, who she says is a spirit medium, had her doing this ritual on the way to school, and people made fun of her, and the guy she liked made fun of her. And so she saw someone being made fun of for what they liked and what they were into, and she defended them, and that started the interaction between Ken and Momo. Mm-hmm. And he kind of approaches her and he's like, I know why you did this. I know what you want. I know what type of girl you are. You're into the occult. And he starts going on about aliens and what was it? Not UFOs, but UAPs.
UAPs.
Yeah. And he has the magazine that has the lizard people and how the president of the United States has gone to Mars and everything. And Momo is like, you're crazy. Get away from me. Nobody believes in aliens.
It's such an interesting dynamic.
Yeah,
I'm here for it. I love like the nerdy nerd dynamic and the quote unquote normal person dynamic. yeah, and then she flips it on him. I mean, that same 5 seconds later, she flips it on him. She's like, I believe in ghosts. My granny's a medium. Ken is like it's almost the exact same reaction. He has like a straight face. Ghosts aren't real. He's like, no,
yeah, that whole interaction was hilarious. And I like how they weave comedy into into this story about ghosts and aliens, and it's coming at the perfect time right before Halloween. And I'm pretty sure that was probably planned, but the comedy of that and then them challenging each other, and it's like, okay, well, you're gonna go to this haunted spot. You're gonna go to this spot that supposedly aliens visit every night. We're gonna prove each other wrong, and if so, you're gonna be my gopher. You're gonna be, pretty much my go-to person. And so it jumps forward to we kind of skip the first scene. The first scene of the anime. Momo has her boyfriend, and I guess he's breaking up with her because he's basically trying to mooch. He's like, we're gonna go on a date, but you gotta pay for it. And it's like, oh, you're broke? Well, you could at least put out, and you're not doing either. Well, I'm breaking up with you. And she tries to kick him, and she has a solid kick. I mean,
I was blown away by that.
Yeah.
Whoa, the animation.
Yeah, I was not expecting that at all, which, I mean, I hope is kind of some foresight into the future here of some of maybe the battles that we're gonna get, because that was like a solid kick that she threw to him. And I mean, he ends up hitting her, and she took it. And so it shows she can give it out, but she can also take it. And it kind of shows later on, we'll get to that scene later, of the kick was solid, there just wasn't enough power behind it. And I think that's gonna play into things later on in the show, in the anime, maybe some later seasons of maybe she's gonna train, or maybe the power that we're gonna talk about later maybe helps her out with that. That was an interesting scene, because it says she wants to find her dream guy, and that dream guy even has a name. And that's a funny joke that sort of played on this episode as well, is because this whole time with this interaction between Momo and Ken, she doesn't know his name.
Yeah.
And so
Until the end of the episode.
Yeah, until the very end of the episode, she doesn't know his name. That was hilarious. Like, they had made this bet for her to go to this place where aliens were, for him to go to this place where ghosts supposedly were, and she didn't even know his name and had gone through all of this. And so that kind of flashes forward to Ken is in this tunnel that's supposedly haunted, and we see it's kind of blocked off and everything, and Momo is in this old hospital that is creepy, and there's no power, and they're telling each other, well, when people go to this tunnel, they for sure see a ghost every time. And he's like, well, this hospital is a hot spot for aliens, and you guaranteed to see an alien. And here is where the first cringe moment, because there are cringe moments in this first episode, kind of WTF moments, when Ken runs into Turbo Granny.
Turbo Granny.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's this old woman standing in the middle of the tunnel unexpectedly, because I think he was looking in that direction and there was nothing there. And then when he looked back, she's standing there and turns around, and the dialogue is she'll let him suckle her teeth if he lets her gobble his dong. And it's like, what? I was not expecting that at all. That part, I mean, it completely caught me off guard. And
right.
Yeah.
I was just like, what is this? Like,
what is happening?
What a strong first episode.
Yeah, strong to say the least. And I mean, I think Ken has the response that I feel like any male would have. He turns and he runs.
He runs out of there. I would run too. I'm like, yo,
like, what the hell? You run into some horny grandma. Momo is letting him know, it's like, no, that's not just some horny old lady. That's a spirit. That's a ghost. That's Turbo Granny. Don't run, because if she catches you, you're gonna get cursed. And almost simultaneously at the same time, Momo turns back around. And as she turns around, there are these three creepy looking guys there. Her reaction is the exact same. She goes to run, and rightfully so, and they grab her and they captured her. And I believe in this scene is the one where they're ripping her clothes off, which was an interesting, this next scene, these two scenes and the next scene were, I feel like, were an interesting take on this, because with the alien story, kind of the history and lore around aliens is they abduct people, they do experiments, and then they get their memories erased and they don't remember the experience. In this, the artist, the mangaka, decides to introduce the aliens as this one-sex male race of aliens who their only method of reproducing was through cloning. But with that cloning, it leads to no evolution, and so their reason for coming to Earth was to, I guess, capture a female Earthling and reproduce. And so essentially it touches the topic of sexual assault, which I know
definitely a trigger warning.
Yeah, it's a trigger warning, and I know for a lot of people it did trigger them. I had a conversation with someone in Discord about that because they stopped watching. It was too much for them to handle, and I can understand how that scene where she's on the table, she's in her underwear, and these aliens are basically explaining that we're about to rape you so we can further our race and we can take your reproductive organs and make more of our race. It's a very interesting, especially with the times being what they are, that the artist chose to go that route and portray that. It doesn't happen, and it's not something that is a heavy focus of that section or that scene of the anime. And immediately as it goes on, because it's a full-on sexual assault experience. Full-on, the alien is trying to ease her mind so she doesn't remember it. And the middle of phone rings, and they even mention is calling you has the worst time. And I feel like that scene was a bit much. And I feel like, because you could have told an alien story without approaching it from that aspect. It could have been, we're gonna take your brain because, you know, whatever, we're gonna clone you. It wouldn't have taken away from the story at all,
right,
to leave that part out, in my opinion.
I was very uncomfortable watching that. I was like, it's a good first episode, but that part I'm like, ooh, yeah.
It's because, I mean, SA is a very serious topic. I mean, it is something that women and men experience daily across the world, and to play it up for sort of comedic effect is something that I know a lot of people consider tasteless. I know I haven't, and it's maybe because of YouTube's algorithm that a lot of people haven't really addressed that, and, you know, their thoughts on it, on whether they think it's inappropriate or not. Because I know for YouTube, I believe even the words of sexual assault will demonetize a video. And it was kind of one where it's like, I'm perfectly fine with the video not being monetized, to be able to talk about it and to be able to say that it's not okay. And it was what made the first episode cringe. And I know there were a few people in Discord who said they couldn't continue it because of that. And there were a few people who were like, they have a different taste in their mouth of something that people are saying may be the best new anime of year. They don't like it because of that, and that scene is going to be in the back of their mind. I feel like from what people have told me who have read the entire manga, and from the few chapters I read, that topic isn't touched again. It's only in that scene, and there are sexual jokes. It kind of falls into the sexual jokes that normal shonen manga and anime will make. I was glad to hear that, but I guess they were going for the shock value of maybe attracting people or giving something that kind of eye-opening moment. But it was very cringy. But
Yeah,
It's interrupted with Ken making a phone call, or we found out it's not Ken. It's Ken was caught. He wasn't fast enough. Turbo Granny was a little too fast for him, and she caught him and cursed him. And it is the curse teleporting through the phone.
yeah. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
It's just like his arm just shoots up through the phone. I'm just like, wait, how is that possible?
It's one where the aliens were even like, our technology hasn't advanced far enough for through communication devices. We need to capture this, and I think that's where we see the Turbo Granny transformation of Ken, and she's fast. It's Turbo Granny for a reason. The aliens aren't able to hit with their psychokinetic powers. We see them destroy the wall with their little hand blast, but they aren't able to hit Ken until he goes in for a hit, and then he's blasted back to the wall. But at the same time, Momo is awakening her powers, and she's going back to her memories of her grandma being a medium, and what her grandma is telling her to do with focusing her chakra, starting in her stomach, coming out through her head. Yeah. And it's one of those things that if you watch Naruto, you've seen it. That's kind of how they explain chakra in Naruto as well. She's able to focus her chakra and awaken her spirit medium powers, and she's able to break free of the restraints that these aliens had her in. And she whoops butt. Like, she, same kick, and I believe she even imagined the ex-boyfriend from the beginning of the episode, and it's the exact same kick, and she sends him flying through the wall.
That was a nice parallel. I love how they did that.
I'm thinking that her fighting ability, because she has hands, you don't just randomly throw a kick like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like, yeah, her fighting abilities are probably going to be amplified by and I'm not sure if they're the spirit medium powers, or if they're like some sort of telekinetic powers or something like that. But it seems like they're going to amplify her fighting skills enough to be able to take on aliens.
Yeah. I love how they both have powers, you know. It's they're both on equal playing fields now.
Yeah, it's not one where the main character gets powers and then the side character, they're just there supporting. They both have unlocked a variation of powers. Ken is cursed now, and with Momo's help, he's able to control it a little bit from what we see.
Yeah.
But Turbo Granny is still going after dongs. She bites the alien's metal metal parts off, which I don't think satisfied her because it's not real. I'm pretty sure there's some kind of story behind it that we're gonna find out of what happened with it. Like, why is Turbo Granny like that? Is that how she got the name Turbo Granny? We don't know. But we end up seeing that Ken does not have control of these powers, and it's not him controlling this curse. It's Turbo Granny, and she's controlling the curse. And with Momo's powers, she's able to keep this curse at bay, and so it's almost like a perfect yin and yang that he has these powers that give him this great speed, this great strength, depresses him as well. I don't know if just like with I don't know if it's part of like being a ghost, or maybe that's going to be explained in the next episode, or if it's maybe like tapping into his personality or the Turbo Granny's personality or something like that. But he was depressed and down, and she gonna have to motivate him to keep going. What do you think about their powers and this transformation?
Man, so with Ken's powers, it's cool because like I've seen his form just like on YouTube thumbnails, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's who he is. I thought it was just some other random character, like some sensei character, with the glasses and the long, gray hair and the mask. I thought that was a sensei, but that was Ken. I was like, oh, that's him. That's so cool. It's like a mix of Danny Phantom with the ghost aspect and Naruto and Kurama. It's a mix of that kind of, in a way. And then with Momo's powers, like, it's so cool that she was able to unlock that. Like, I don't know how she unlocked it, or I guess it's just like, what's the chakra in the tummy. and just like her focusing the energy. And it's cool. It's like from the trailers I've seen, it looks like her grandma will be like the sensei figure for both of them in a way. I'm excited to see the dynamic. I still don't know what to expect, because I'm sure that Ken's only goal isn't just spoiler alert, or I guess not spoiler alert because I just mentioned it earlier, but his dong back. Like I'm sure that's not the only objective of the anime. I'm sure there's gonna be more as the story progresses, but I'm really interested to see where the story goes.
In that scene with Momo, she's able to kind of separate Ken from Turbo Granny, but it doesn't completely get rid of the curse. And Turbo Granny is like, the only way you're gonna be able to release him from this curse is to come on my turf and defeat me and get his dong back. I take it that maybe where they're headed next, because I'm not quite sure if Ken knows that, because I believe he was in like a state of like unconsciousness or shock from being separated from the spirit. And I believe she was talking directly to Momo, and she shoots out of the building, and the alien ship, you find out that the moon is fake and it's actually the alien ship, and it's exploding and it's about to crash, but the aliens are still there. And so they're running, they're trying to get out of the hospital, get out of this alien ship somehow, and it crashes behind them. They make it out just in time. It crashes behind them, and it starts sort of the end to the episode. Ken is back conscious. He gives Momo his clothes because she isn't dressed. She's in her underwear from the aliens. That's when she asks him his name. Is this whole time like she did not know his name. And that's crazy that they went through all of this, even the dare to go, for her to go to the hospital, him to go to the tunnel, and she didn't know his name. And come to find out his name, we've been saying it, but it's Ken Takakura. And it's the exact name of the person who, in her mind, is her dream guy. She even says, she's like, why is my heart racing? And then there's the explosion behind her when the name comes out. It's kind of setting up that nerdy guy, popular girl aspect of it.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think they will actually end up falling in love, or how do you think this romance is going to play out?
Oh, that's a great question. I see. It's going to be eventual. It's going to be eventual. It's not going to be right away. And I feel like if they do it right away, I mean, like, I feel like it could go both ways, because I've seen some anime where, the romance hits off right away. Like, I don't know if you've heard of this slice of life anime called Horimiya. I don't know if you've heard of it. So, like, in Horimiya, the romance hits off right away. They're boyfriend and girlfriend already. But the story is still entertaining. Whereas there's some other stories where they don't hit it off right away, and they come together at the end and become boyfriend and girlfriend. With how unpredictable the first episode already was, I really can't predict how it's gonna go. like for all I know, it could start off as hit it off and be like, okay, nope, it's not gonna work. Hit it off again. Okay, no, it's not gonna work. Hit it off. Like, I mean, I honestly don't know, but I'm excited for it anyway.
Yeah, I don't know either, man. I'm right there with you. It was so unpredictable, and with the comedy aspect of it, because the comedy is there in the forefront and it's done really well. I almost feel like it's gonna be, I think it'll be a long, drawn out thing of them. I don't think it'll be immediate or in the near future. I could even see, because Momo was in denial, like she's in full denial about it, but Kim is a nice guy. I could even see it going that route of Momo even, she stays in denial. She tries to like maybe date maybe something with these powers kind of changes Ken, and he becomes a bit of a Chad, and he dates somebody else, and Momo is extremely jealous. I could see them drawing the romance out for comedic effect for a while, and it just kind of be a thing where their romance is in the background and it's going on, and it's a running joke throughout it, and maybe towards the end they end up getting together.
Is this based on what you've seen in the manga too, or is it just your own theory?
No, it's just my own theory, just kind of based on what took place in the first episode. Because with the manga, I think I read up to chapter 5, and it's not, as far as their relationship, it's not too much different from what we see in episode 1. I feel like that would be a good play on the comedic effect and then their relationship growing. In that stretch, a background aspect of the anime and the manga, and eventually towards the end they're gonna come together and realize they're in love. But yeah, I think it's a long play thing.
I'm with you on that too, where I feel like more than likely it will be, drawn out, like a longer term thing, not like a right away. It could be right away, but I don't know if it would. But they just done a really good job with what you said with the comedy, mixing it in. Like when Ken first gets his power and he's slammed against the wall, and then he's like, "No, I can do this." And he gets slammed against the wall again. He's like, "Never mind." And she's like, "What? You're giving up already?"
Yeah, and I take it back to maybe the Avengers. I feel like since the Avengers have come out, like every form of media has tried to throw comedy into the action and their storytelling, and for some it has worked out pretty good, but for some it hasn't. And I feel like so far from what we've seen from Don to Don is it has been a perfect blend of comedy and action and the subtle hints of romance, because I've seen some where it just doesn't land, and so far it's landed perfectly with this one.
I agree. Like I found myself laughing genuinely, laughing out loud. I was like, wow, this is hilarious.
Yeah, cool. So that brought us to the end of the first episode. They figure out that they can't separate because Ken has this curse, and really right now the only thing keeping this curse at bay is Momo's power. And so episode 1 ends up with them heading to the grandmother's house to try to figure out what's going on, because Momo's grandmother is a medium, or she said she's a spirit medium, so she's thinking her grandma's gonna know what to do. I think that'll be interesting. How do you feel, and we don't know how long this will last, but how do you feel about them having to be in close proximity, otherwise he's gonna go crazy? How do you think that's gonna play into the story?
Oh man, I feel like at first it's gonna be, for Momo, it's gonna feel like a hassle, where she's like, oh, I have to like stay around him, keep him at bay. And then I feel like Ken might like low-key like it too, because he's never had friends, he's never had companionship, so he's gonna be really appreciative of it. But at the same time, I feel like he's gonna depend on it too much, you know what I mean, for her to be there. And in a way, like you said, he has to find himself and become a Chad on his own way somehow, and can't keep relying on Momo to keep him at bay. I feel like that's how I see how it might go, where he becomes dependent on her, and like in a way she has to remind him to like, hey, you're your own person too. I mean, especially because he's a nerd that didn't have any friends, so it's very easy to flock to one person and stick to that one person, especially if you haven't had friends. So I'm really interested to see Ken's character development into becoming this Chad, and I'm also really interested to see Momo's character development as well, where like I love that we saw her backstory about how she's a very nice person who didn't like what she saw because she got bullied as well. And I'm really interested to see where her character goes. Like I can kind of predict where Ken's character is going, but with Momo's character, not really sure. Maybe she's gonna be more, I don't know. What do you think about Momo's character developments? About like where you think it'll go?
Because I think from the beginning of the episode we see that we see that she has friends. She seems to be somewhat, like, maybe not popular, but maybe, in that group of people who are liked, where Ken isn't. That scene where she walks into the classroom, everybody immediately stopped picking on Ken when they saw her sit next to him. And so maybe she is part of that mean girl group in the high school. I think for her, it'll be recognizing that she can be herself. They made it very clear that she got picked on for doing a ritual her granny told her to do, with doing a thing with her hand on her head and walking through, and everybody picked on her. So I feel like she developed a wall. Maybe she developed an external shield, an external image to keep from being picked on. But she's gonna learn to be herself, and I feel like she's gonna learn that from Ken, because Ken has been himself. It's almost the exact opposite. Ken has been himself. He's done the things that he likes to do. He talks about what he likes to talk about, and in turn, he's been picked on and ridiculed for it. And so I feel like she's gonna learn that from him. Is like, it doesn't matter what other people think. Like, be you, be the person that you are, and whatever happens. You don't have to put on this exterior image or this shell to please other people. If they pick on you, oh well, you're still you. And so I think I'm thinking that that's where her character arc is gonna go. And for Ken, I feel like it's gonna be almost the opposite, where he's gonna maybe develop this sort of Chad persona. It may be the curse that impacts him or something like that if they're not able to cleanse it. Something's gonna happen, but the roles are gonna almost flop a little bit, where he may end up being like a popular person, or where people are interested in him. And Momo, through what she's learned, is gonna have to ground him.
That's a great analysis.
And I could be wrong, and he could be a big dork throughout the whole thing, and like that's the play on it, of where he's being himself and he's being this weeb about aliens and things like that. And it just kind of becomes like a thing for him of like being sort of awkward in public, because he's relating everything back to aliens and ghosts. And so I don't know, I feel like it would be an interesting story, because you could tell a very good story of character development with him bringing her out of her shell and being who she is, but at the same time her keeping him grounded.
It's also like literally and metaphorically, where she's keeping him grounded, from these powers unleashing, and keeping him grounded was keeping him humble as well, like you said.
Because I'm pretty sure people are gonna start seeing them together, and I feel like we talked about the romance earlier. That may play an aspect of it, of they're always together. Oh, they're dating. Oh, he's cool because he's dating her, and it goes to his head.
I see. Yeah, man, I'm so excited for this. Okay. So I have a question for you. Since you read the manga, or read a little bit of the manga, how does the manga compare to the anime, like art style wise? Is it the same? What are some differences that you see, and what are some similarities that you see?
Well, diving into it, and with this first episode, it is almost a 1-for-1 telling of the first chapter. And I mean, every scene, every panel is directly from the manga. They don't deviate at all. There's nothing cut out from it at all. It's a perfect adaptation of the source material, page for page, scene for scene, line for line. And that's one of the things that I love. I don't like when adaptations remove things from the source material, adding things, because with creative freedom, it may make more sense to add a little bit to be able to tell the story a little bit better. But with the way Don Don was adapted, like I said, it was 1-to-1, and it was done perfectly. And I'm hoping that keeps up, and I haven't read, like I said, much of the manga up to chapter 5, and I know a lot of anime tend to tell the story that is maybe 1 or 2 chapters, and I'm not sure if this one's going to follow that same path, but I think that they're going to stay true to it. I think that they are going to tell the story exactly how it is in the manga, and stay true to that. There won't be anything necessarily added in or taken away, and we are going to end up with what I feel like will be, an anime that is in everybody's top 10.
Okay. Okay, nice. Okay, nice. So it seems like the only differences were color and sound design, voice acting, and music.
Yeah, and they have some pretty good voice actors looking at it, because the voice actor for Luffy voice acts Turbo Granny, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice. I know for Ken, because I was actually reacting to a Dandadan trailer on stream, and someone in my chat said, yo, his voice sounds so familiar. And then I was like, it does sound really familiar. Who is that? And then someone else in chat said, oh, that's Tanjiro's Japanese voice actor. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, and so they've gotten like top-notch voice actors. You would think the voice actor for Luffy is legendary.
Yeah.
And for her to take on Turbo Granny, that's a big deal, which kind of shows, in my opinion, how serious and how good this story is gonna be. And then same thing for Tanjiro. Tanjiro is, of the new generation of anime, one of the bigger, if not the biggest character to come out of this generation of anime. And voice actor is taking on a main actor here. And then for Momo, let me see, Momo's voice actor, it looks like she doesn't play any main roles here recently, but she plays a lot of supporting cast members in everything from Shoku Tensei to Gundam, Dr. Stone. So yeah, she's played in a bunch of, or she's voice acted in a bunch of recent anime, but no main role. So this is her, from what it looks like, her first main role.
Oh, sweet. Okay, nice. That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool as well.
And I know that there's also an English dub for Dandadan that came out at the same time too. Do you watch English dubs as well?
With kids, watching the English dub is easier for me. And so, normally I want both. I'll watch the sub and the dub just to get a feel for it, because I know some people say, oh, well, with the sub, you're able to see what the emotions the voice actors have and everything better than you can with the dub. I haven't seen any that have just been horrible compared to the subs, but I tend to watch both. And with this one, I did watch both, and it's pretty good. The English voice actors, they portray the emotions and the inflection and everything great. And one of the things that I actually read about the English and Japanese voice actors is they're in communication. I know that's not normal, and so that may be one of the things that that led to such a great English dub. And so, did you watch it sub or dubbed?
I watched it sub the first time.
Okay.
I want to watch it in dub though, because I feel like I might be able to pick up some things that I missed when first watching it in sub.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I like about dubs.
Yeah, give the dub a try and let me know what you think. I think it was a really good dub adaptation, and then to find out that the voice actors are in communication, I feel like it's gonna stay that way. I think there was something similar with Kaiju number 8. The sub and dub were coming out at the same time.
I do remember
they
that,
did a really good job with that one as well. I feel like the quality of dubbed anime it may not be to the same quality as some of the sub, but I feel like it's right up there. They're like neck and neck with each other.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I would agree. Like, there's been some really, like there's this one voice actor that I watched this interview of, and I saw that he's been in a lot of more recent anime and just other media in general. Have you heard of Alex Lee?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like he does Zenitsu and Demon Slayer, and I was really impressed with his performance in Solo Leveling. I'm not sure if you've seen Solo Leveling or seen it in dub, but oh my goodness, that man is a beast.
Yeah, I haven't seen Solo Leveling's dub yet. I follow him on social media, and on his social media, because he looks just like Jinwoo. And I think he did some cosplays of Jinwoo, and I'm just like, if they ever do a live action, they don't have to look far at all.
He's right there. He's got the same voice too.
Yeah, looks exactly like him, same voice. He's built. I'm not sure if he's a martial artist or not, but man, I think that was one of the things that because I think it actually was from another post on social media where somebody was comparing how Jinwoo looked to Alex.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and so I'll have to go and check out the dub to see how that went.
Yeah, it's like, I would say it's like equal with the sub. I would say, in my opinion, I would say it's equal.
Cool. So, of this fall anime season, Dandadan, I believe, is one that was on everybody's list. What else is on your watch list for the fall 24 anime?
Yeah, so I'm gonna watch Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War Arc Part 3. It came out today as of October 5th. So I'm excited to watch that after this. And Re:Zero Season 3, I just caught up with Re:Zero, I want to say last week. So everything is so fresh in my mind. And I know that people had to wait a long time until Season 3 came out. I think there's like a 4-year wait, I think, if I remember correctly, either 4 or 5 years.
I just started Re:Zero myself, the first season of Re:Zero, to catch up to watch it because people say it's pretty hype.
It is hype. Have you seen Steins Gate at all?
I have not.
Okay. Because I was gonna say something. I was gonna make a comparison, but I will say though, it's very. I love that Re:Zero has a real main character, and by real main character I mean that he feels like a human, and it's frustrating to see what he goes through and how he deals with things. It's very like his character development is very real, where it's like it's very real to that of a person in the real world, where it doesn't just happen right away, but you just see it go up and down and down and then up again. But yeah, I'm excited for you to get into it. I'm excited for you to get into Re:Zero.
Yeah, I watched the first 2 episodes. I'm gonna binge watch those here over the next couple of weeks, and so I want to be able to watch this upcoming season because people told me that Re:Zero is good. I just never picked it up.
Yeah.
So what else is on your watch list?
Yeah, Re:Zero. Let's see. I think Blue Lock Season 2.
Yeah.
The first season was so hype. like I think I remember watching one of your episodes too, where correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not a big sports anime person, right?
No, I haven't. Blue Lock was my first.
Okay, same here. That was my first sports anime I ever watched. I didn't think I would get into it because, for me personally, I never grew up playing a lot of sports. I played soccer just 1 year during my 4th grade, and that's it. But I watched Blue Lock. I was like, yo, this is hype. It's like soccer Hunger Games.
I'm gonna pick up a couple of other sports anime. Sons of Tokyo, they've been doing a watch through of Slam Dunk, and so I think I'm gonna watch it because I've checked out a couple of their reviews and it seemed legit. And so what else? Blue Box is a new one, that came out with badminton and everything. I'm gonna check it out as well. People have said some pretty good things about it.
Yeah, that's another one on my fall 2024 anime list that I want to watch because it looks wholesome. It looks very wholesome, and it's like badminton and basketball. Like I think the girls playing basketball, the guy's playing badminton. He's trying to get to her level of being an athlete, and to impress her in a way, or just to get in the same level as her, or to be in her league. So I'm interested to watch that one.
Yeah.
And there's another one too that Annabelle made a video about, or she didn't just make a video about this one anime, but it's like she did a fall 2024 anime review, which is done really well. And there's this original anime, it doesn't have a manga source or anything, where this guy, it's either he has 2 weeks left to live, 2 months, I think it's 2 months left to live. He had like a terminal illness, and then to find purpose in his life, he takes up fishing. So it's a fishing anime. I'm like, I don't fish like that. I know my dad fishes a lot with my mom, but I'm gonna check it out. It seems like a wholesome anime. I've never seen an anime around fishing.
Negative positive angler. Yeah,
that's
that's
negative
what it
what?
was. Negative positive angler.
Angler, that's what it was.
Yeah, cool. So, okay. So your fall 2024 watch list. We got negative positive angler, blue lock, blue box, ReZero, and bleach.
Yeah, and Danadon,
Yeah, and Donna.
of course.
There we go.
Of course.
Yeah. I can't leave that one out.
Yeah.
I'm the
How about you?
same. A lot of the same, and so Dragon Ball Daima is coming out later this month.
Yes.
Yeah, I plan on checking that one
Yukari
out.
Toriyama.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dragon Ball was a big part of like every kid that's grown up in the US since like 96. And so I'm definitely going to be checking it out. Dandadan, of course, Blue Lock, Bleach. I like mech anime, and we've been kind of starved of good mech anime, but Mecha Ude, Mechanical Arms, is one that premiered this week. I'm gonna give it a watch and see if it's any good, and if so, I'll keep that one going. I'm gonna check out Core 2 of Tower of God.
Oh yes.
and make sure it picks up. And I think those are the ones that I'm gonna follow weekly. Kind of like with the summer. At the end of the summer, I always go back and I end up watching just a few that I didn't watch consecutively. And so at the end of the summer, I went back and watched, what was it, The Strongest Magician and the Demon Lord's Army as a Human. I went back and watched Failure Frame.
Heard of that one. That one's a Failure Frame is the one with like the CGI, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not bad either, like at all. Those were two that I went back and watched after the summer season was over. There's a couple of more from the summer season. These isekai and sort of isekai equivalent have these long, crazy names now, but it's it's like Osan, and then there's like two more sentences after that. But that one looked pretty good. I'm gonna go back and watch it. My Dear Friend No Katan, I'm gonna go back and watch that one.
Yeah, I gotta finish that one too.
Yeah. It's just, I feel like this year has been a great year for anime, and we've gotten so much good content that it's very difficult to watch it all simultaneously as the season is going on.
Yeah, because like, well, on our list we have what 6-7 different anime,
Yeah.
and that's like 2 hours worth of episodes, 2 or 3 hours worth of episodes to watch.
Every single week.
Yeah.
And
We're
it's
eating.
like, yeah, exactly. And it's like, that's not everything. That's just the ones that we plan on keeping up with every week. So, I mean, I guess to wrap us up here, can you plug your social medias one more time?
Yeah, so you guys can follow me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Threads, Emmanuel LKD, no spaces. On YouTube, there is a space, Emmanuel space LKD. But yeah, that's where you can find me at.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you coming through. We'll definitely have to do this again. It was a good time, and thank you guys for listening. You can find me at the Side Quest Hustle on everything, on all streaming and social media platforms. We have a Discord as well. We're working on building it up and getting it active. So follow the link below to get to the Discord. I'll put Emmanuel's links below as well, so you can check him out on YouTube, check out his skits, check out his game streams. But until next time, thank you guys for joining. Peace.
Peace.
Got me feeling so free.